Joy Case here, host of FunditTV with Brian Koscak. Thanks, Brian, for agreeing to chat with us here after the conference. Tell us a little bit about your role in this conference.
Well, I'm with Castles Brock and Blackwell. I'm a partner there. It's a law firm that has offices here in Vancouver as well as in Toronto. But I'm also the co-chair of the Equity Crowdfunding Alliance of Canada. So we are hosting it here today in Vancouver. And we have done shows actually a couple days ago in Calgary. And prior to that, we've done a conference in Toronto. And we'll be moving on shortly next week to Ottawa and then Montreal. We're trying to educate people about what is crowdfunding all about. What is equity crowdfunding specifically all about? One of my panelists yesterday called it, it's about owners, not donors. And I think that right aptly distinguishes between equity and non-equity crowdfunding. Because this is for real, it's serious about raising money. It's in a regulated environment. I think people are trying to understand how does that differ from basically an unregulated environment or those that are doing non-equity crowdfunding like your Kickstarter, Indiegogo, those types of portals.
Right. And what was a surprise for you today or something of interest for you as the day progressed?
That's a great question. I think the obvious, as I summed up at the end, was there's a seeming expectation that crowdfunding was going to solve liquidity. That people are looking for, what do you do once you get into a deal? How do you exit? And it was interesting that they were expecting that crowdfunding was going to solve that. So it was pretty clear at the end is there is no universal panacea in terms of providing liquidity. I know the U.S., they provide liquidity after a year hold period. But that's a whole new separate discussion that is something that is involved in the entire exempt market, the private capital markets, that has to be done at a whole different level. I think we need to separate it, allow crowdfunding or selling securities on the internet to get going, and then the next phase of this could be talking about liquidity is how do you exit. So some of the angels here raise their concerns about how do you exit or otherwise. Good question, but this is not the universal way to get out of exits in terms of crowdfunding, get out of deals.
And if you could wave a magic wand and have an angel investor say the right thing as a response to this new marketplace, how would you want them to say what they thought about it? What would you want an angel investor to do or how to participate in equity crowdfunding? In best case scenario.
That's a great question. I think for angel investors is that they should look at this as a wonderful opportunity. They're doing a lot of hard work in their angel networks. The National Angel Organization of Canada has a number of different related entities, and they're trying to help educate and promote investing. They take high-risk investments, and if they can look at the opportunity that crowdfunding represents as a way to also get the crowd involved through their reviews and diligence, it's almost like they're the lead investor that provides some sort of validation. I think if they see that there's opportunities that can be involved, that's the exciting part.
That makes a lot of sense. And so what would be the next best step for the crowd that came today? What would you want them to do next after being inspired today to participate to some level?
Well, they have until June 18th to write a comment letter to the BC Securities Commission. We looked at different models. We looked at the startup, which is the low end of crowdfunding. You can raise up to $300,000 or $1,500 per investment per investor. It's a totally unregulated portal. Personally, it just doesn't work for me. I think it introduces so many problems. So I think what you'll see is non-equity portals align and quickly shine onto that because it is consistent with their model. But I think that this is about corporate finance. And as I mentioned earlier, this relationship between technology and social media and securities law is like two awkward strangers coming together for the first time and having that awkward hug.
Yes.
In terms of the equity crowdfunding model that is being developed by Ontario, Quebec, and 4 other provinces, that allows companies to raise up to $1.5 million. Investors can put in $2,500 per deal, or about $10,000 in a calendar year. That looks more interesting and promising, and it's going to be regulated that you're going to have a restricted dealer. But the third aspect of crowdfunding that you can crowdfund today in Canada, in BC, the BC Securities Commission has published information to this effect, is that if you raise capital online through an exempt market dealer under the offering memorandum exemption, which allows it to go to the public, that's crowdfunding. That's the crowd in crowdfunding.
We have it here already.
Absolutely.
We don't know how lucky we are.
We don't. And when you go down south and you talk to Americans, they can't believe.
They just shake their head.
Yeah.
How are you not taking full advantage of this?
Yeah, it's like in the U.S. they have what's called the private placement memorandum, or PPM. So literally, if you went there and say, wouldn't it be neat if you had a PPM exemption and you had prescribed form of PPM and a risk acknowledgement form? And they're like, that's great. I think we need to go to Canada to raise capital. I said, well,
I would like to hear that
I think that's a
more
stretch,
often.
but because we go down south to raise capital.
That's right.
But I think what crowdfunding, and equity crowdfunding, or selling securities on the internet is going to do, it's going to promote Canada. It's going to keep businesses here. It's going to create jobs. It's going to stimulate the economy. Like, I'm a Canadian. Why do we have to go to other jurisdictions to raise capital? We've got great intellectual capital here. What excites me the most about all this, Joy, is that it's going to increase the entrepreneurial IQ of Canadians through investing and entrepreneurism generally across the board. And that's exciting because that's what's going to create jobs and move the meter, whether it's creating new businesses or creating jobs or investment opportunities in a new asset class.
It's about education right now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Take care.